Honda K24. Why have I picked a Honda K24? So my last car was a Subaru, BMW V8 forged and turboed. Loads of power, loads of torque. Why have I done a full circle and gone completely back on everything I've ever done and picked a 4-cylinder? Let's have a little chat about that. So the Subaru was built for pro level drifting and we had some good success in it, but the sheer weight of the car was a problem. Getting it off the line, getting it out of tight transitions, you could just feel the sheer weight. And when I would drive a lighter car, it just felt so much more nimble, alive. So this S13, I've decided to build a lightweight engine. So the decision was made, Honda K24 with an A2 head. Where did I go from there? So basically I looked on Facebook Marketplace looking for an engine. I didn't have a clue how much they were, literally had no idea. Managed to find this. So it was a Honda K24, very local to me, an abandoned project. So completely standard engine. I didn't know anything about it. To be honest, the guy didn't know anything about it either. But what it came with was a set of pistons, a set of rods, and a few other parts that we may or may not have used. So we took the plunge and we bought it. From there, we sourced a cylinder head from the Honda Civic Type R, eBay. It's always a gamble when you buy second hand, but we bought it. So we had our block, we had our head, we had theoretically the base of what we needed. And then we started to think about who we're going to use to do the machining, because I knew for the sort of power level that I wanted to run, 600 plus, for it to be reliable with the sort of driving that we do in drifting, you know, we hurt them. It's not like we're shifting gear at the limiter, we're holding them on the limiter. These engines need to be strong. So we needed a good machinist that really knows the Honda engine. So after doing some research, I picked Ian at Clockwise Motion. Builds a lot of Honda endurance engines, and a real nice guy. And I'll show you his level of work is phenomenal. So what has he done to the block? So standard Honda K24 block, what he's done is machined out everything inside and fitted the dart and sleeves. Now when he fits the dart and sleeves, he does it all in-house, CNC machined. Everybody uses him for the installation of dart and sleeves. He finishes it with a dual height deck top. So the face of the block is slightly fractionally lower than the face of the dart and sleeve. The reason for that is for the expansion of the aluminium block in relation to the expansion of the steel liner. And you also obviously gain a tiny extra amount of clamping force where you want it on the liner. This is obviously come back, all machined up, ready to go. What more can I say about it? It looks stunning. It looks brand new, fresh out of the box. I was amazed when I see this. This went in looking like it had been dug out of the ground. And this is exactly how it's come back. I've literally just unwrapped it. So speaking to Ian at Clockwise Motion about the cylinder head, for 600 horsepower, he assured me that a stock head will do it. But I'm a bit of an over-engineer, and you never know, we might want to push it further than 600 horsepower. We're definitely going to run nitrous, which brings complications into things. Nitrous is a very cold addition to an engine. So if you've got a hot valve guide and you hit it with a cold shot of nitrous, you've got the risk of cracking the valve guides. There's various issues going on. So we spent a bit of time talking about what we can do to the head to make it bomb-proof. So if you take a little look, you can see these valve springs are Ian at Clockwise Motions. They're his own. The toppers are his own. It's just a work of art. We spoke a lot about the mass of a double valve spring and the benefits of a single valve spring. Look, I don't even want to put oil in it. It looks too pretty. But yeah, that is something we spoke about. As for porting, now I asked him, do we want to port this engine? He says it's not necessary, but obviously it gives benefits. So I want the engine to be the best it can. So we had Ian port it. So Ian CNC ports it and finishes it by hand. It's beautiful. It's a work of art. Every cylinder, every port being identical to the next. his level of work is just something else. I'm extremely happy with that. And what that'll do, that'll just allow the air to go into the engine so much easier. You know, you can achieve the same power with less boost by the increase of airflow. It's simple maths, really. Now the valves, again, stock valves would have done the job, but we've gone oversized valves, so that's a bigger valve seat on every valve, a larger valve and uprated valves, polished chambers, and a refaced head. Now Ian got it to this stage, so Ian has done everything you see here, even to the point of each valve seat and valve cut measured perfectly to be the same depth. His level of engineering is fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted, what I needed. I'm very happy with it. Not a lot more I can say about the head. Obviously it's got these phosphor bronze valve seats in there, so we'll have no problem with the nitrous. That should be good. Okay, now as if my voice isn't boring enough, I'm proper gonna bore you to death now. So, 2 litre Honda, everyone knows, revs to high heaven, you know, you can get these things to rev like mad. The reason for that is because they're what you call a square engine. So bore and stroke is the same size. Creates a very well balanced engine, they rev like mad. But when you go K24, so when you go with a 2.4, piston size stays the same, but it's an increased stroke. Now what happens there is, to create the same RPM, the piston speed will be faster. So you can't rev it as high. So what we wanted to do, obviously, to create high RPMs, is we need to balance everything. And this is something, again, Ian at Clockwise Motion's done for me. He has balanced everything here. So rods, pistons, crank, entire crank assembly, clutch and flywheel, all balanced together. Now there's not a lot I can do to show you this until we go down to the flywheel, but there are signs of it. So there's your crank, all polished up, ready to fit. Obviously it's been balanced, but there's not a lot I can show you on that. But when you go to the pistons, now if you look very closely, you will see where he's taken a tiny bit of machining out of the end of the gudgeon pin. This is how he's balanced the pistons. Okay, now each piston is color coded. So this is the pink one, which basically says that gudgeon pin belongs with that piston, and in the right hole, that will balance this engine perfectly. I probably didn't word that right. I'm not great on camera, but you get the idea. That's the level of engineering he goes to. Rods are balanced, everything's balanced. So what have we got here? So CP Carrillo pistons. I didn't go out specifically to pick them. I mean, I quite often use a Wasner piston. I love Wasner products, I use them in a lot of my cars. But when I bought the K24, it came with them. Ian's been through them, he's checked them, he's measured everything on them because they're not his go-to piston. But he's checked them, he's happy with them. So we're going to run with them. They're the correct compression ratio, running a 10:1 compression ratio, and he's happy with them. So we're going to run with them. Eagle con rods, not a rod I've used before. So obviously when you haven't used it before, you're a little bit skeptical, but done some research, actually phoned Eagle themselves, rated 800 horsepower, no problems, people running over 1,000. Again, gave them to Ian. He was, like myself, a bit unsure. He's measured every part of it. So he's measured little end, big end, length, width, you name it, he's measured every bit of that. And he's taken their measurements across all 4, and he's happy with them. He's happy to run them in this engine. So there we are, we're going to run the Eagle rods. Not much more I can tell you about that. So the next bit to talk about, not a lot to talk about on this really, is all our bits and bobs that we need to put the engine together. So Ian recommended genuine Honda parts for all this. You know, we don't need anything uprated here. So genuine Honda chain guides, chains, oil pump chain. We've got various guides and brackets and seals, flywheel bolts, thrust washers, just genuine Honda stuff, rocker cover bits, bolts for the main caps. You know, you'd expect someone to say, ooh, uprated, but no, genuine Honda for the mains cradle. That is literally, it's just a ton of Honda parts. But I'm going to talk about the crank bearings. Now, this engine is going to be very highly strung. I don't care what anyone says. A 4-cylinder engine creating 600 horsepower or more is a very highly strung engine. For that reason, you want to get your clearances absolutely spot on. Bearing clearances, piston to bore clearances, they need to be right. So just buying a set of bearings off the shelf, banging it in and hoping that them clearances are going to be right. So no. So like we do on some of the engines we build at work, we're going to check the bore clearances. So these King race bearings, basically, we will use as a guide. And we will check the bore clearances. We'll check the bearing clearances between these bearings and the crank. And Ian's given me the bearing clearances that we want. If they're not right, then we won't use them, and Ian will supply graded bearings to the correct size. If they are right, happy days, we can use them. So I'm going to show you how we do that in a little bit. The other thing, ARP head bolts. Now, these ARP head bolts came with the K24 when I bought it. Ian's not overly happy for me to use these. Now, Ian said up to about 1.3 bar of boost, he would more than happily use them. We don't really plan on running much more than that to achieve the power that we want, but what if we go more? What if we decide, you know what, this thing is doing so well, we want an extra 50, 100 horsepower, we've got to step past that. So we're going to go for the L19 head stud kit. So they're on order and they're on their way. Right, so this K24 is going into obviously a Nissan S13. Some of you might call it a 180 SX. Those of you that have done engine conversions before, I've done quite a few, I'm sure a lot of you have, is the actual installation itself. You know, sumps don't fit, engine mounts, how you make them, can you buy them? There's all sorts of obstacles. And in the past, generally, most of the engine conversions I've done, I've had to make everything from scratch. I'm 43 years old, I've had enough, and I'm so happy that I was able to just buy this. So TF Works, this is quite a well-known kit now. There's no surprise to this. A lot of people are using this. TF Works basically sell a full S-body installation kit. They can supply this with corresponding bell housings for your gearbox. They do lots and lots of different packages. I've just gone for the sump and engine mount kit. The sump is an absolute work of art. So if Warwick can get the camera inside, because it needs to be shallow because of the height of the Honda engine, it needs to be a shallow sump. So what they've done, they've made a very big winged sump, so the capacity is in its wings, and then they've gated the inside to keep the oil in the center. Very clever, very nice, beautifully made bit of kit. I'm over the moon with this, it's stunning. Another one of them bits of kit that you don't really want to put on the engine, you want to put it on the wall. Really impressed with that. And the engine mounts, there's Warwick just showing you the gates. Now, you can buy engine mounts for all sorts of different engine conversions, but when do you ever see pure billet aluminium engine mounts like that? Absolutely stunning. And this kit wasn't expensive either. So when it turned up and I see billet engine mounts, I was like, no way, you know, this is amazing. Yeah, super happy. I can't wait to hang these off. At least you'll want to bolt these on now. But that is one of the jobs for the end. With the kit, you get an oil pump modification kit. So Ian at Clockwise Motion sold me the correct oil pump to convert the K24 to convert the K24 bottom end to an A2 style setup, to a 2 litre style setup. So it's actually a 2 litre pump, but this one already has the machined section to go straight onto the 2.4 bottom end. And so obviously it's a genuine Honda pump, and then TF Works supply you with the rear section to bring the pickup pipe round to the front. Absolutely beautifully crafted billet aluminium piece of kit. All right, look at it, again, stunning. I'm loving these parts. TF Works, you know, hats off to you guys. This is amazing. I can't wait to fit these. They're so cool. That is the TF Works sump kit. Now, if you're wondering why we're laughing, it's because my dog that is sitting down there has dropped one. That is one smelly old dog. We love her to bits. She can do whatever she wants. Quick chat about the clutch. So I've been drifting for some time, built a lot of drift cars, and the clutch is always something people don't really put enough thought into. So with a drift car, you're actually asking a hell of a lot from the clutch. You want to keep them wheels spinning the whole time without clutch slip. You want to be able to clutch, kick, brake, traction exactly when you want it to. Now, drifting has got faster and faster and more speed added into the car. To achieve that, you need more grip. So we're running wider, stickier tyres. You know, we're running semi-slick race tyres to get this drift as fast as you can. To overcome that grip, you need as much power as you can, hence big power engines, but you also need a clutch that can handle that torque, that power. I've used lots of different clutch companies over the years. Now, I fell in love with these guys about 2 years ago. TTV Racing from the UK. We've got 2 of their clutch kits in 2 of the cars. So a V8 supercharged BMW has one of these, and actually the other one is a V8 supercharged car as well. And we have no problems at all, and they're super reasonably priced. Really helpful on the phone. If you have any problems with it, i.e., you know, if you wear your friction plates out, very fast turnaround. They're exactly what you need in a motorsport environment. So yeah, we're really happy with TTV Racing, and they've helped us out with this clutch kit for this new car. So thanks to TTV. Yeah, and actually brushing on one thing very quickly. See these 2 little divots here? Now, this is where Ian at Clockwise has balanced this to the crank. And the crank front pulley as well. So everything has been balanced. You know, we really want to achieve that high RPM without a horrible vibration through the engine. Yeah, there we go. So going back to the difficulties of an engine conversion, the wrong engine in the wrong car. Obviously, as we said before, you know, typically you would have to manufacture mounts, manufacture bits and bobs. Now, this company here, T7 Designs in the UK, have been amazing. These guys have made my life so much easier. It's just unbelievable. Now, let's just talk about some of the parts we've got here. Start with a wasp alternator. Now, on a drift car, you've got 3 electric fuel pumps, electric power steering. You've got, what else we've got, Warwick? You've got a coolant fan that is drawing 60 to 80 amps. You've got high power coils. You know, this is 8 injectors. There's so much power, electricity demand that you need a good high power alternator. It was something we struggled with on the Subaru. We had 180 amp alternator on the Subaru, and we had problems. We was getting bad, almost, I think you'd call it dirty voltage at the throttle body, causing problems. So I promised myself that we would put the best alternator we could find on this engine, and T7 Design have sorted us out with a Wasp 320 amp alternator. This thing is going to be amazing. Really excited to get this on the car, and because of the high RPM, what you don't want to do is overspin the alternator. So T7 Design have sorted us out an underspeed or overspeed? Underspeed alternator pulley.
10% under.
Yeah, they do a 10% or a 20%. I mean, we're not going to rev as high as some of these NA race cars, so we don't need the 20%, but we've done the maths, and T7 helped with that, and we worked out a 10% underdrive alternator pulley is going to do the job for us. So that was just one bit, nice and easy, no more worrying about it. Thank you to them, that's perfect. Other issues we would have come across is we want to go electric water pump. That involves a deleting of the normal water pump, which involves making pump blanking plates and various other bits and bobs. Not in this engine. T7 Designs do a water pump blank kit. So basically this goes in place of where the water pump would have been. There's your adapter, bolt that on there. There's your AN fitting to go to your electronic water pump. How simple is that? With the other bits and bobs we've got here, we've also got an alternator relocation bracket. So this kit not only sorts out your water pump issue, also mounts your alternator exactly where you want it and keeps it on a really simple manual tensioner for your belt. Now that's simple. Simple is better. In my eyes, simple is better.
Deletes all the power steering.
Yeah, deletes the power steering, your aircon, all that messy stuff that you kind of need to work around. This just deals with it. It's one bracket, one water pipe, alternator, belt, manual tensioner. Perfect, that's exactly what we need. Oil cooler, so you're going to want to run an oil cooler on this engine, and T7's Designs do this beautiful one piece billet aluminium oil cooler takeoff sandwich plate. A lot of people, and me included, would do an oil filter remote location kit. The thing I don't like about that, and I've never liked it, is how many extra pipes you have in your engine bay. And quite often where you mount it and you think is a great idea, it's up too high, or when you want to change the filter, it pours all over your car. So I like this in the fact that it's on the engine, it's stock location, less pipe work, again, less to go wrong. I really like that. So T7 Designs, I thank you guys. You guys have been amazing. Right, we've looked at all the shiny bits. Why have we got a really rough looking rocker cover sitting here? This is something that has always been on my mind, and Ian at Clockwise kind of really put the nail in the coffin of the importance of this. Now, it's just a rocker cover. It kind of shows, it is off the K24, so it shows the state that engine was in when I first got it. Now, what would most people do here? They would shot blast that. So you'd shot blast it, get all this nasty red stuff off, you'd flip it over, and you might shot blast in there, or you might not. But either way, sand is getting in there. You're going to blow it out with an airline, you're going to clean it, you're going to jet wash it, you're going to paint it, you're going to do whatever you want to do with it, and you're going to be really happy with it. But what you're not doing is getting all the sand out from underneath this plate. So underneath this plate is chambers for the breather system, and you will get sand trapped in there. No matter what you do to try and clean this, I don't care who you are or what equipment you've got, you're going to get sand trapped behind this plate. And eventually that sand will make its way down into your engine. It's going to destroy your crank bearing, it's going to destroy your engine. You spent 10 grand on an engine, you've just ruined it for a bit of sand. Now what Ian's done, he has made a frame to put these rocker covers into his CNC machine. His CNC machine drills out these studs to remove this plate so he can shot blast, paint, reassemble, put this plate back in, knowing that it's absolutely spotless. No more failed engines from shot blasting sand. So that's something we're waiting for. Ian's going to do us one of these, and we're quite excited to get that done. I did think, do I do it myself? I mean, I could do it myself. I could quite easily grind them rivets out. I could drill them rivets out. I could put that plate back in. But if I'm honest, the price Ian's charging to do that and deliver it back freshly painted, it's not worth doing it myself. I'd rather stay late after work, do a couple of private jobs, and it'll cover that. And that's the honest truth.
And just say that the rivets don't go back into it. He actually taps and drills all of them so they're then removable for future cleaning.
Excuse me. Oh, damn COVID. Yeah, so he does, he drills the rivets out, and then he drills and taps. Oh.
Can't die yet, mate. You've got a car build.
I've got to get this thing finished before I die. But yeah, so he drills them out. He then uses a tapered screw, you know, because a tapered screw has less chance of rattling loose, to put that baffle plate back inside. Yes, we're really excited to get that back from Ian. But for now, it's just going to stay like that.